part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Run, William, run! He's got blockers in front. 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score! Kick blocked! They blocked the kick!
Can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. The NFL is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get. Download now and use code P3Browns to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code P3Browns, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling, so call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. That is a live read from our wonderful sponsor, DraftKings, for the Orange is Oranger Cleveland Browns podcast with me, Holly Wetzel, and Tyvis Powell, and Taj, the producer extraordinaire.
Well said.
How about it? Welcome back, DraftKings. Welcome back, everybody. We're here.
Look at you. You're jipper. I like it. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you upbeat like this. This is good.
I'm excited.
I see that.
I am like, I got the game on. It took me like way longer than necessary to get the game on my TV right now. We're recording this Thursday. I'm pumped.
Yeah. Did you just see what just popped up on our phones?
You know,
you didn't see that Joe Burrow just signed the biggest contract?
Well, now I was in the middle of a live read for our wonderful DraftKings sponsorship. So, holy crap. What'd he get?
His bank account caught the Holy Ghost.
He better earn that. Oh, $275
I think he already did.
That's true.
He got 219 guarantees. Still ain't got Deshaun money, but he definitely
that's close.
He definitely got it close enough. So whoever's next, let's go. Who is? I wonder who's next.
Look at us trend setting. Who'd have thought?
The Browns was just got ahead of it. They got ahead of it.
Yeah, sure did. That's a great way to put it, actually. Well, speaking of Burrow, yeah, here we go. That's like perfect timing. We are getting ready, week 1. We are about 72 hours out at this point. How you feeling, Tyvis?
You know what? I'm very excited to see what the Browns do. It's a big year for them. You know, this is, like I said, like we've talked about on previous podcasts, you know, I was very excited for what the Browns front office did for an offseason, you know, getting the coaching change, getting the personnel. They really have no excuses not to be successful. I mean, even this first game, you know, you look at it from a roster standpoint, they have one of the best rosters in the game. So there's really no excuses for them not to get it done this year. Deshaun Watson was asked about, they said, can he get back to being 2020 him? And he even said he's tired of hearing that. He said he wants to be better than 2020 him. So a guy that's talking like that, that means that his confidence is through the roof. And that's something that he lacked last year. So coming into this year, you got some preseason snaps. They was some good snaps. There was some good stuff that you did. Now it's time for them to put it on tape. You're going up against a Joe Burrow who's injured, who probably won't see 100% for the rest of this season. Still no word on whether or not he plays or not. I think he's a competitor. I know Joe personally, so Joe probably will go out there and play.
How personally are we talking?
I just seen him at the Woody. What was that? In May? I just talked to him in May. But anyway.
Hello, make the intro.
Anyways, yeah, Joe is not helping. And then my biggest concern for Cincinnati this year has been their secondary. Cheeto was playing really good, but Cheeto, who I do know personally as well, shout out to Cheeto, played with him in Dallas. Cheeto had got towards ACL last year when he was playing his best ball, and he's coming back off of that. And he's got a big boy assignment going against Amari Cooper. I know Cheeto because I played in Dallas with him, and guess who else was in Dallas? Amari Cooper. So he's got that big boy job of going up against Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper is is probably one of the best route runners in the NFL. It's going to be a tough matchup there. I talked to Ben Baby today on the Cleveland show, and he was saying that they think Cam Taylor-Britt, who's the other corner, will be one of the top corners in the NFL, at the end of this season. So Donovan Peoples-Jones is trying to earn that money. It's his contract year. If he can beat him, that's that. I don't know if the Browns necessarily gonna pay you, but 31 other teams out there, somebody might. And the Elijah Moore, Holly, you will be sporting him all year.
Sure will, thanks to you.
I'm excited to see him the most. I think he's a very important piece on offense because of just the versatility that he has in that offense. Just playing running back, playing slot. I just want to see how they utilize him. Kevin Stefanski got a bunch of pieces and a bunch of weapons. There's really no excuse for him this year. He really has to find a way to get it done. I think he is a good play caller, and he's got to put it to the test this year.
Well, like you said, the pieces are there, and there are no excuses. All of the excuses are tied to last season, and it's full steam ahead. And no one's expecting perfection, right? But the high expectations for this team are incredibly reasonable and realistic. There should be no other, there are no other excuses. I mean, and that's just the bottom line. And I hope that we see a lot of that grit. I mean, look, it's going to be week 1. The guys are going to be amped. I know there's going to be a lot of energy, and, I get a little nervous about that sometimes. But and hopefully in the best way, these guys bring it, and they know. Right now, it seems like from a culture standpoint and from a communication standpoint, from what we've been able to see, which is not much, but enough for now. Feeling good about it. I mean, there's a lot that needed to be changed from last year. But at least with the Bengals, look, we are not projected. I think the Bengals are 2.5 point favorite, I believe. But it's not a secret, that we've had Joe Burrow's number. And I'm feeling really good going into this, also being at home, our defense. So I want to start actually with the defense, Tyvis, your fave. Orlando Brown, certainly an upgrade for the Bengals, but even when the Browns had a poor D-line, they have been able to get to Burrow. And they want to make a statement in this first game. So feeling good about that. But Burrow, he has what seems to be, I would say, the best offensive line that he's probably had for the Bengals. So what do you think, Tyvis? How will the Browns D handle Joe and the O-line this game? And can they protect Joe enough to win?
Well, Orlando Brown, it was a huge get for them. I mean, he said that he's faced Myles Garrett 5 times and he's only allowed 1 sack. But that sack was in a critical moment. It was a big play by Myles Garrett. So he's up for that challenge. When they talked to him about Myles Garrett, he had nothing but high praises for Myles Garrett, saying he's a freak, he's an alien guy, one of the best athletes ever. So it's going to be a good test. That wide 9 that Myles is going to be in, it's probably going to be something different from the last time. Obviously, it's going to be different than when the last time they faced off, because that wide 9, if you don't know, I asked Joe Thomas about it. Like, what? I asked Joe Thomas, like, what was the worst, defensive scheme or look that you hated going against? And he said the wide 9, because, you got a guy who's one of the best athletes going up against a guy that's not that athletic, and he's getting a running start, and he can beat you either inside, bull rush you. It's so much that he can do, or go underneath. And it's a lot. The worst thing is to get these tackles in space. So it's going to be an interesting game. Myles Garrett, obviously, we know that he's been living in the backfield this whole training camp. But now that it's on, the bullets is live, I want to see if he can continue to still do that. And I'm just interested to see all the pieces. Is Darius Smith? I feel like I haven't really, he did stuff in the preseason, but I didn't really get the full version of it, So I want to see the full version of this line, all these pieces coming together. But ultimately, it comes down to that secondary. Jamar Chase is one of the best wide receivers out there. T. Higgins is a great wide receiver, and Tyler Boyd is very productive on third down. So, they're going to be tested. And I don't know if Denzel is cleared or not to play in this game. Obviously, if he plays, that I'm not going to say he's going to shut Jamar Chase down, but it's nice to know at least is the guy that can go step for step with Jamar Chase. But if he's not playing, that means that Greg Newsome or Martin Emerson is going to have to step up. And, these guys is playing for second contracts as well. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be more rough if Denzel don't play. And I'm excited to see this secondary go because, like I said, it all starts with that D-line.
Yeah. And, Newsome's got a little bone to pick from with the podcast that who from the Bengals was on it and saying that he wasn't elite.
What? So somebody on the podcast? You talking about Jamar Chase when he was on the Pivot?
It was on a podcast from last year.
Yeah, that was the Pivot podcast from last year. Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he was saying that New wasn't.
He said Denzel is like that, but the rest of them is it ain't like that at all, and they do a lot of chirping and
Newsome's
stuff.
got receipts. He said he's got receipts.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
I love to see it.
I would too, because I don't know how much the potential has always been there with the last, especially with this roster. Good on paper. We've been saying it forever. Good on paper. And so this is the put up or shut up year, for as cliche as that sounds, but there is a lot riding, and I think we just want to see competitiveness. We want to see consistency, stability. We want to see good communication. We want to see these guys winning and playing as a team, and it's so much easier said than done as we've been living it. But there's a lot to be excited about. That's why maybe I got a little extra pep in my step, because it's the best time of year, and it's for the first year, and I think in a really long time, we really have a potential here, and it would just be incredibly heartbreaking if they did not fulfill, at the very least, a winning season. At the very least.
Is it still, hasn't it been a very long time since the Browns won their home opener?
Yes.
So it would be nice for them to shatter that, because that would be, and like I said, they're getting, since Cincinnati's a really good team, but they're getting them at the right time, because did you know the last two seasons they start off slow because Joe Burrow hasn't played in preseason or been in training camp. He's been like
hurt or sick and like crazy shit.
So he always starts off pretty bad. So they playing him in a really good time. And it's at home. I think they've beaten him every time at home. So all the stars kind of align for them. And then it'll be a huge momentum boost for them. Like if the Bengals lose this game, it don't mean anything. Like like they could still go off and rip 15 straight or 16 straight after this game. So, but for the Browns, it would do so much more for the organization to get this win. Like because you're ahead in the AFC, you're ahead in your own division. That's one of, if not the toughest division. So if I'm a Browns, this is probably like a Super Bowl game to me. And what would really make people happy is to see Deshaun Watson go toe to toe with Joe Burrow. Like that would be, if that happens and Deshaun Watson's like we go down and Deshaun Watson still somehow keep us in the game and we come back and win the game, and it's because of a strong performance by him. I think a lot of people, not just in Cleveland, but a lot of people nationally will be like, okay, the Browns really are serious this year. And then they'll start paying more attention to them. So I think a lot of it rides on the shoulders of four.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought up Watson, and it's a good transition to the offense. Run game versus pass game. Tyvis, use of Nick Chubb. We've been reassured by Stefanski that, not some things are always going to change on the offense, obviously, new season, and all that. But really, at the end of the day, the use of Nick Chubb is not going to change. What's your prediction with the run versus pass game on Sunday?
Okay, so this is the thing, and this is one of the things that they need to get in their head. I understand that we paid Deshaun Watson $230 million. I get that. I understand that Nick Chubb takes a $16 million cap hit next year. But this is the thing. I don't need you to get caught up in I don't want people to get caught up on who makes what money. That's not what's important, because that tends to affect the game plan. And I think they fell into this narrative last year.
But it does affect how they play. It just does.
That's the problem. That's the problem. When it comes to play calling, you don't do this because like he getting this money, so we got to make sure he gets the ball. No, you need to do whatever is working, whatever is successful. If Nick Chubb running the ball is what they can't stop, then let's keep running the ball. If Deshaun Watson is dicing up the secondary, then keep the ball in his hands, but don't take the ball out of the person who's hot hands. And I think that happened too much last year.
Way too much.
They stopped doing the things that was working in the game to try to satisfy other people. If this team is truly selfish and they truly selfless and they want to get to where they want to get, it's about winning the game. It's not about your stats. It's about what we need to do to win the game. And I think this team is there because they sound like they are there. And I hope that it's sad because there's a lot of dudes that got some contracts. Amari Cooper's contract is up after this. DPJ's contract is up after this on the defensive side. That I think Dale Pitt's contract. So it's a lot of people, that's out there trying to play for extra money. And I get it. I get it because that's what's important. But you want to do what you got to do to win the game. And I don't want the coaches to get affected by that. And I think that, like I said, I think that just happened too much last year and it affected the outcome. So if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm going to do whatever it is that's working. If Nick Chubb if they can't stop Nick Chubb, then we're going to continue to feed Nick Chubb. If Deshaun Watson's doing good dicing, we're going to keep the ball in Deshaun's hand. But hopefully they get a nice little league and, in that fourth quarter, they're able to bleed the clock with Nick Chubb and stuff like that, because that's what would make them more deadly than a lot of teams like the Chiefs or something like that. Like if the Chiefs goes up, now you could come back because they can't run the ball successfully. But if the Browns go up by 2 scores in the second half, like they can successfully still run the ball and run the clock out. And I think that's kind of what the game plan is going to be this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've historically never been the comeback team, right? I mean, that's been our problem, and it's been a front load more of a game plan because we have obviously have a hard time finishing. Again, it's that consistency that we want to see throughout the game. At the end of the day, sure, whatever works is what they need to stick with, and whatever's going to get that win. But there should not be that high of a level of unpredictability that there's been. The anxiety that this team brings, to the fan, but even probably more to the coaches and each other. I can only imagine. Unpredictability can be a really tough thing. And being able to pivot is a really important thing. That's what makes some of the best players, being able to manage those decision makings in those small windows of time when you have to, and it's going to cost you the game or not. With Watson, he just being dynamic, efficient, accurate, that just needs to be the norm for him and the expectation every week. I know that I didn't know that he had said about the being better than 2020, which I would hope so. And even how amazing he was in 2020. So I have, obviously the expectations are really high for him, and whether he likes it or not. And I think with any quarterback that's where all the pressure lies. I've heard everything that him and Stefanski have a really good relationship. I haven't heard anything negative. I heard they have a very high mutual respect for each other. They get along. So
Well, you got to see it. I mean, you've seen it up close in person because
I did.
you went to
Yeah.
West Virginia, so you got to see.
I saw a lot in West Virginia. I'm excited for Jim's. He's laughing at.
What a guy!
Who
Well,
else do you think I saw out there?
I just wish I could be you. Just to be around the team.
I'm not on Big Ten Network every Saturday. By the way, you looked so adorable.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You did.
Thank you.
I was very proud.
I traded all just to be around the Cleveland Browns. But anyways,
Be careful what you wish for.
no. I like the thing about Deshaun Watson is I think he had a good relationship with Bill O'Brien and Houston. Obviously, they were successful together. And when with Kevin, I think that's half the battle with quarterback play in the NFL. It's getting with a coach where y'all are on the same page. Y'all get each other. And the perfect example I could give you is Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett. Together, Aaron Rodgers, 2-time MVP, back-to-back MVP. He leaves, he becomes a head coach. Aaron Rodgers is not having a good season. Nathaniel Hackett didn't have a good head coaching gig. So, but now that they're back together, maybe Aaron Rodgers gets back to that. So what I'm saying is I'm hoping that Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson can have that type of relationship where they see each other, they get it, they understand what each other is thinking, they're on the same page when it comes to play calling, and he can just let it loose, and I think that's the one thing that I want to see, because Kevin Stefanski, everybody says that he's just this unbelievable play caller. And like I told you last year, even when we got into this argument.
A lot of people say that? Okay.
A lot of people do say that. A lot of higher ups, like a lot of former coaches and stuff like that, like not fans, like former play callers say that. They give him a lot of respect. And I told you, like, when we got into our argument, I was telling you that I see the vision. Like, I see when he called the play, like, I get what he's seeing, but he just didn't have the Johns and the Jones, which is the same thing I said about the defense, too, which I need to talk to you about that. I need to talk to you about this defense because I heard something and it just blew me away. So I'm not going to tell you who I was talking to, but I'm talking to somebody for the Browns. And he was saying, like, our linebackers play is so much better in the passing game. He's like, they hitting they landmarks and they in those dig windows. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, that's the same thing Joe Woods taught. Like, what are you talking about? He tells me, like, he's like, well, they wasn't doing it with Joe Woods. And I'm like, he's like, no, Joe Woods didn't teach that. I'm just like, I played in that system. I know.
Right.
I know what the responsibility is. He was like, well, all I would tell you is they actually in the dig windows now and they hitting their landmarks. So I'm just like, so what it tells me is they was defiant. They just didn't care about, they didn't take coaching last year. That's what that kind of tells me.
That's scary.
Yeah. So anyways, I say all that to say it's fixed. They're in the dig windows. So we should see a lot of linebackers making plays on passes, which will make me happy. But it's sad that I promise you in that scheme, that's exactly the same thing. So, and it's funny to me because I look at this and I'll be like, a lot of the stuff that Jim Schwartz is teaching, it's kind of the same. Like it's nothing really that much different at all. It's not like it's pretty similar. It's cover 3 and cover 1 for the most part.
Well, and that's leadership is so incredibly important.
I agree with that.
And so if you're not respected, it can be the same work, right? Like I can be asked to do the same work from 2 different people, and one person I will have a lot more respect for than the other person, and I want to do a good job. I want to make them proud. I want to be able to make me the best that I can be. And put myself on the line. I mean, you talk about all the time that you're trusting, you guys you're out there trusting each other with everything. It goes a lot deeper. So yeah, I mean, if that's back, great. And I feel it, I can sense it now, at least right now, right before game 1. So, I mean,
what is your biggest concern going into this game?
Mm-hmm. I think just what's always the scariest part, I think, with game one is just the chemistry on the field, and the execution of everything that you've been working on in practice. I do get a little nervous about these guys not all being on the field at once, in a game situation. Mm-hmm. So that's always the first worry, I think, when you're with new teammates and in a new scheme, and you're learning, and it then actually translating and executing on the field. Yeah. And going up against a team like the Bengals, we are lucky if Joe's coming off of a little bit of an injury and he may not be going as hard or full game or whatever that might be. Good for us, and we're at home. Like, we have a lot of upside to this game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just think that chemistry there that's not there, that takes a few weeks to build. Yeah. And our
you saying offensively or defensively?
Well, both. I mean, look, we got a lot of new guys on defense too. I mean, it's both. Our schedule is incredibly front loaded, and that's also scary when you are trying to build that chemistry and get on the same footing. So that's my biggest worry for game one, and it happens to be against the Bengals, and which is even harder. But again, we have some things in our corner. So
you know what my biggest concern is?
What?
My biggest concern is that things don't go well right away, and they fall into the here we go again stuff. If that comment.
Well, you say who is going to fall? Who are you afraid that is going to fall into that? The Browns, anybody. The fans?
No, the Browns.
Okay.
The players. If some adversity hits and things don't go the way that everybody imagined that they should, and they go down, I don't want them to say, here we go again. Like, this another, here we go, same old stuff. We did all that and it's still the same old stuff. Because if that happens, it's gonna be a terrible season. I need the new guys to step in and nip that in the bud. I need them to step in. And that's where leadership, because I think that was the biggest problem, especially defensively. There was no leadership out there. Right. Nobody was there when things went south. There was nobody there to stop it and pick things up and get everybody back on track. They just let everything unravel. So I'm hoping that with some of the people that they got, Juan Thornhills, Roddy McLeod, Dalvin Tomlinson, Zadarius Smith, Anthony Walker coming back. I'm hoping that if things just so happen to slip a little bit, that they able to say things and get their guys back on track to get it going.
I always felt that the players more than anyone would keep that level head and not fall into that. But you think that's?
Did you watch them last year?
Yes, but
did you not think that they just sometimes was like, here we go?
Well, yeah, look, yes, okay. Eventually, but you think right off the bat, I don't think right off the bat. Like, if they lose game one, okay, you think their mentality is going to go right to that. I don't. Not yet.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, in the course of this game, it's going to be something that happens. And human nature is to just revert back to your old ways.
Sure.
Exactly.
Okay.
Their old ways are not good. It's so you have to stop and say, we're not doing that no more. That's my point. It has to be somebody that nips it in the bud and say that's not happening no more. Because if you give it energy, it means you're giving it life, and it can continue to grow, and it becomes a huge problem. You got to nip it in the bud the moment somebody says it, thinks it, body language shows it. You got to nip it in the bud right then and there, so it never happens again. That's what I'm saying. That's one of my concerns. My other concern is it's still this Denzel thing. That one gets me. that one gets me a lot because Denzel
for this game.
Denzel is my favorite player on the Browns. So, and I just know what he brings. And I feel so bad because he has such a good camp. And when I talk to him, he was so ready to be back on top. Like, he was trying to get back to the top again. Like, he knew the type of season he had and he wanted to get back. And I hate that he had this injury, and I hate that, he's missing reps. It's nothing worse than a guy who, barely practices and then goes out in a game that you expect him to just play really well.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really happen. You need those live game practice reps to get you ready for the game. And I think he's just missing some of those right now. Now, I'm not saying he won't be effective. I just think that it might take him maybe a quarter or two to get in his groove. Same thing I feel about Cheeto.
Yeah, I mean, it is scary, and I think there's a lot of scary things even beyond
and
game one with Denzel.
And the special teams really scares me the most. Not just the kicker. I'm talking about the return and the coverage team.
Yep.
It scares me. This team right now is so prone to giving up a punt return or a kick return, and it's gonna piss me off when they do it. They're gonna piss me off.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a laundry list to pick one thing, right? I think is tough because once you start talking about it as we are, there's other things that unravel that we are worried about because of the fact that there was so much from last year that did not go right.
It's out. It's out. I'm sorry, I'm watching the game.
What happened?
He just fumbled this ball. It's out. That ball is out. Who is that just coughed that? He gave it up.
Who fumbled it?
He gave it up. Who is number 0 for the Lions?
Lions fumbled?
Yeah. He gave it up like the woman that came to the altar and it was confessing sins. Gave it up.
I did not know where you were going. All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to bring back predictions because we're in the season. So we'll be right back. But first, Tyvis is going to talk about our amazing sponsor that's back.
Holly, it's been so long. I mean, it's been too long since we had football, but it is finally back. And is here with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you just bet $5 on any game. That's a deal. You know what? If I could bet, I would. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day in this September. Check the app to see what you get. Download now and use code P3Browns to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That code P3Browns. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. ccdkng.co/football for eligibility. Terms and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
All right, we are back. Orange is Oranger. It's my favorite time of the podcast. It's prediction time. Statement win for our Brownies, Tyvis. Survive and advance. Bengals are 2.5-point road favorite against our Browns. What say you?
I say the Browns win this game. Very close, 24-21 game. Dustin Hopkins kicks a game winner for about 46 yards, wins the game.
Oh.
Everybody goes crazy and says, "We have a kicker."
Okay, that's a bold but realistic-ish.
It's what's gonna happen. Just telling you.
I mean, I hope to God it doesn't come down to him to kick the winning field goal on the first game. Lord Almighty. Look, I'm going to stay positive. I started positive. I'm going to continue positive. I'm going to say 30-27 Browns. And yeah, I think that they're going to inch one out. By God, hopefully not a field goal to win. But yeah, I think they're gonna take this one. I think it's gonna be a huge statement win, and I'm feeling good, positive vibes. So I think Deshaun's gonna have a great game. That's where I'm going. I think he's gonna have a great first breakout week 1. Show up, show off, show out, whole deal.
I like this positive, Holly. It looks good on you.
Well,
I hope you can keep.
Thank God this is recorded, because
I hope you can keep this up for 17 weeks.
I will not. But
you will. No, you will. You will, because the Browns are going to make the playoffs.
Well, I hope. Yeah, like it's not sure you win, and you're gonna have a happy Holly every week. So look at that. And I'm gonna bet.
No, it's sad. It's sad because
I'm gonna win some cash on DraftKings. I'm gonna just blow this shit up.
I truly just want them to lose just one time, just so I can see mad, angry Holly.
You will. Like that's not like I hope they lose. It's they will, and they're gonna do something stupid, and they're gonna probably have stupid penalties, and we're gonna miss kicks, and we're gonna turn the ball over, and we're gonna
Holly.
Whoa. See what you started, but
whoa.
Until those things happen.
You happy?
Foot on the gas.
Happy Holly. Okay.
Happy Holly. So we'll be back next week, breaking down hopefully a nice win, and we'll be turning to week 2 against the Steelers. I am going to Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. I will be there.
Must be nice.
So it's going to be a blast, and I will have some good stuff, good takeaways. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine going 2-0?
That would be nice. That would be nice.
I mean, huge.
I mean, to be 2-0 in the AFC and in the division.
I mean,
you can't beat that with a bat.
Sure.
Now, don't get me wrong. I seen them do it before, where they was on top of the division, and then they ended up losing like every game after that. So, yeah.
All right. See how positive you started, and then you.
Well, I just don't think that would. I don't think that would happen. I really believe, out of all the things that they did in this offseason, I think the biggest move they made was the Jim Schwartz. I don't think he will allow people to do that. And the thing is, it's not just the defense that he's affecting. It's Kevin Stefanski too. Like, I think that if you come out there, like, for example, Kevin Stefanski felt at whether he wants to admit it or not, at some point of that season, he thought to himself, like, I really don't have no defensive coordinator. Like, I got to outscore everybody or we don't have a chance. So he put it all on him. And Jim Schwartz is the type of guy that's going to hold his guys accountable, and he going to make Kevin Stefanski step his game up, because if he goes out there, at the worst, if I can go out there and hold somebody to 14 points, you better be able to score 15. Like, if that's not the case, whether we go to the Super Bowl and win it all, you still might get fired if you can't put no points on the board. So I think that he applies that pressure from just him being in the building and him just being the coach that he is, and how he gets the respect and how players just kind of gravitate to him. Like that's threatening to a Kevin Stefanski, in my personal opinion. So I think that Jim Schwartz just being in that building is making every coach in there step their game up.
100%. Yeah. I mean, look, you get the right leaders in place, and it's game changing, literally. So let's hope. All right. So for the Orange is Oranger Cleveland Browns podcast, I'm Holly Wetzel. He is Tyvis Powell. Thanks, Taj, as always, for putting up with us and also making us sound so cool and having to record Tyvis's everything of Tyvis all the time, many times. So yeah, we'll be back next week breaking down hopefully a big W, and I'm gonna let One Take Tyvis take us out.
You're hilarious. I like these shots. Go Browns. We are back, baby. Super Bowl, here we come. Vegas, here we come.